Hello, Adam Maths Tutor here, with a walkthrough of the GCSE Edexcel November 2020 Foundation Paper 3. These were the papers that were originally meant to be used in the summer of June 2020 but were cancelled due to COVID and then reused in the following November. Let's get started.
Question 1. Change 300 centimetres into metres. There's 100 centimetres for every metre. So to convert, I just need to divide 300 by 100, which gives me 3 metres. Question 2. Work out 1/3 of 24. So the denominator tells you how many groups you're splitting it into. So 24 divided by 3 equals 8. And the top number tells you how many of those groups you want. So multiply by 1, which in this case would just keep the number the same. So 1/3 of 24 is 8. Question 3. Write 40% as a fraction. Percentages are out of 100, so 40 over 100. Then we can simplify this. So I'm just going to start by dividing by 10, which would give me 4 over 10. And I can carry on going a little bit further here. I can divide by 2, and that would give me 2 over 5. Question 4. Work out 2.5 squared. We do have a calculator for this exam, so you would just need to put 2.5 squared, or you can just put 2.5 times 2.5, and that should give you an answer of 6.25. Question 5. Write the following numbers in order of size. Start with the smallest. The smallest number that we have here is -6, then -4, -3, 0, 1, 2, and then 7. Question 6. The graph shows some information about car production in the UK over 8 years. Part A. For how many of these years was car production more than 1.4 million? So let's put a line across the y-axis at 1.4 million, and we're looking for the number of years that it was above this line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Part B, in which 2 years was car production the same? So we're looking for the lines that have the same values on the y-axis, and that would be these two here where they both go up to 1.5 million. So we just need to put 5 and 6. Question 7. What fraction of the shape is shaded? Give your answer in its simplest form. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 shaded squares out of a possible 4 times 4 is 16 squares, so 12 out of 16. I then need to simplify this, which I can do by dividing by 4 for the numerator and the denominator. So overall, my answer should be 3 over 4. Question 8. Karim buys 200 tiles. The tiles are sold in boxes. There are 25 tiles in each box. So starting off with 200, and there's 25 tiles in each box, so divide by 25, and that tells me how many boxes I will need. Each box of tiles costs £9.75, so to work out the total, I'll just have to multiply by 9.75, and that gives me a total of £78. Question 9, Part A. Work out the value of 300 over 2 times 5. You can just type this straight into your calculator, but this would be the same as 300 over 2 times 5 is 10. And 300 divided by 10 is 30. Part B. Work out the value of bracket 6 take away 2.5, bracket 8 plus 4. So working each of those parts out separately, the first bracket, 6 take away 2.5 is 3.5, and 8 plus 4 is 12. And when things are written in brackets next to each other, that means that you need to multiply them together. So 3.5 times 12 would be 42. Part C, write down the reciprocal of 20. The best way to do this is to write down what that number would be as a fraction. So a whole number can be written as a fraction just by putting it over 1. And the reciprocal flips the fraction upside down, so the answer would be 1 over 20. Question 10. The graph shows information about the time in minutes a liquid has been cooling and the temperature of the liquid in degrees. Part A. What is the temperature of the liquid at time 2 minutes? So using my graph, I need to go up from 2 minutes and across to read off the temperature, which is 80 degrees. Part B. Pam recorded the time when the liquid had a temperature of 50 degrees. Write down this time. This time I need to go across from the y-axis at 50 degrees and down to the minutes to read a value of 8 minutes. Part C. Pam says that the temperature of the liquid drops more in the first 3 minutes of cooling than it does between 9 and 12 minutes. Is Pam correct? Give a reason for your answer.
Pam is correct.
The line of the graph drops more rapidly within the first 3 minutes compared to between 9 and 12 minutes. Question 11. Find the value of y. So to find the value of y, I'm going to need to know what this angle here is. And then I should be able to take it away from 180 because angles on a straight line add to make 180. But I'm first going to need to work out what that angle is by using the quadrilateral that's been given on the left hand side. I know that angles in a quadrilateral add to make 360 degrees. So take away the angles that I've been told, 95, 130 and 65, and that will leave me with the one which is missing, 70 degrees. Once I know that this angle is 70, I can take it away from 180 degrees as previously mentioned for angles on a straight line. So y would be equal to 110 degrees. Question 12. Here are the first 5 terms of a number sequence. Write down the next 2 terms of this sequence. So we can see that to get from one term to the next, I'm taking away 5 each time. So 25 take away 5 would be 20, and then 20 take away 5 would be 15. So the next 2 terms are 20 and 15. Part 2. A term of this sequence is -5. Which term would it be? Well, let's just continue the sequence until we get to -5. So the next term would be 10, then 5, then 0, and then -5. And I can just count to see which term this is. So my first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, and the 11th term. The nth term of a different sequence is given by the expression 4n plus 3. Find the 9th term of this sequence. So the nth term is an algebraic expression that finds any term in the sequence, and to do that you just need to substitute the position that you're trying to find for n. So if you want to find the 9th term, you just have to substitute 9 in for n. So 4 lots of 9 is 36, plus 3 gives us 39. Question 13. Work out the perimeter of this shape. We're first going to need to find out what the missing lengths are. So there's one missing length here, and there's another missing length here. And to do that, you just need to use the length that's been given to you here. So if this is 10, this here is 4, that means that the difference between these would be the bit left over. So this is 6 centimeters. And likewise, if we know that this whole distance is 7 and this bit here is 5, that means that this bit left over must be 2 centimeters. The perimeter is the distance around the outside. So start in one corner and work our way around. So 4 plus 5 and continue all the way around until you get back to the point that you started at. 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 2 plus 10 plus 7, and that's a total of 34 centimeters for the perimeter. Question 14a. Simplify 3x plus 5y plus 2x, take away 4y. Collecting like terms, I'll be able to collect 3x with plus 2x, which is 5x, and I'll also be able to collect 5y with -4y, and that would give me a total of plus 1y, or just y. Part B, solve 5p plus 7 equals 22. Start by taking away 7, therefore 5p would be equal to 15, and then divide through by 5, so therefore p would be equal to 3. Question 15. Here are the costs of the same type of batteries in two shops. Harry needs to buy at least 30 batteries. He assumes that he has to buy the batteries in whole packs. Harry wants to buy the batteries as cheaply as possible from the same shop. Which shop should he buy the batteries from? Shop A or shop B? You must show all of your working. So for shop A, he needs to buy 30 batteries, and shop A sells them in packs of 4. So divide by 4, and this gives me 7.5. But because he has to buy these in whole packs, that means that he would have to buy 8 packs. And with each pack costing £1.60, I can times this by 1.6, and this gives me a total cost of £12.80. Shop B, I still need 30 batteries, but this shop sells them in packs of 6, which goes exactly 5 times. And the cost of each pack is £2.70, so times by 2.7, and this gives me a total of £13.50. To conclude, he should buy from shop A because £12.80 is less than £13.50. Part B, Harry's assumption is wrong. He can buy single batteries for 40p each from shop A and 45p from shop B. Does this affect which of these two shops Harry should buy the batteries from? Give a reason for your answer. Well, 40p is cheaper than 45 pence, so this will only reduce the cost further at shop A, which is already the cheapest. So no, it won't affect which of the shops Harry should buy the batteries from. Question 16. There are only 5 blue cards, 2 green cards, and 4 red cards in a pack. So as a total, this would be 5 plus 2 plus 4, which is 11. Isabella is going to take at random 1 card from the pack. Write down the probability that Isabella will take a blue card. Well, there's 5 blue cards, and this is out of a total of 11. So this would be the probability. Ken is going to throw a biased dice once. The probability that the dice will land on 6 is 0.3. Write down the probability that it will not land on a 6. So the probability it will land on a 6 and the probability that it will not land on a 6 will add to give you a probability of 1. So I can just do 1, take away the probability that it will land on a 6, and that will leave me with the probability that it won't, which is 0.7. Question 17. Draw accurately an isosceles triangle with sides of length 8 cm, 6 cm, and 6 cm. One side of the triangle has been drawn for you, so you need to open your compass to a length of 6 cm, and you need to put your point on one of the ends and draw an arc which is 6 cm and will look something like this. And keep your compass the same distance, 6 centimeters. The point goes onto the other side, and you replicate this, so it'd look something like this. And then you can use a ruler to connect from here to the intersection, and then back down to the other side. And these should measure 6 centimeters, as they're both the same. Question 18. This graph can be used to change between US dollars and British pounds. Rosie bought a ring in the USA and she paid $345. Work out in pounds the amount Rosie paid for the ring. So the graph dollars doesn't actually go up to 345, so you're not directly going to be able to use this value. We're going to have to find a factor of this number which does appear on the graph. So 345 has a factor of 15. So if I divide by 15, that gives me 23. So if I can work out what $15 would be in pounds, which is around here, I can then just multiply this value by 23. So that looks to be around £11.50. So now I just need to multiply this by 23, and that will change it into $345 into pounds, which is £264.50. Question 19. Here are the types of sandwiches sold in a cafe last week. 56 tuna sandwiches were sold. This was 40% of the total number of sandwiches. That means that 40% represents 56 sandwiches. And that's useful because I can now break it down to work out something like 10%, which I can do by dividing by 4. 56 divided by 4 is 14. And once you've got 10%, I can build it back up again to work out 100%, which would be the total. And I can just multiply by 10 for this. So that would be 140 sandwiches. Part B, of the 56 sandwiches that were sold, 18 were on Friday. Write 18 out of 56 as a percentage. Give your answer correct to the nearest whole number. So 18 out of 56 would be the fraction. And then to convert to a percentage, I just need to multiply by 100. This gives me 32.1428. And because I was asked to convert this to the nearest whole number, I would just need to put my rounding line after the units column. And the final answer would be 32%. Question 20. Akhtar, Ben and Carl each have some money. Akhtar has £65, Ben has £100, Carl has 3 £5 notes, 1 £20 note and some £10 notes. The mean amount of money per person is £80. How many £10 notes does Carl have? So to calculate the mean, you need to do the total divided by how many bits of data there are, n, and that will give you the mean. Now if I fill in the parts of this which I know, the total I don't know, I'd like to work that out. I do know how many bits of data there were. There were 3 people, so n would be 3, and they have told me what the mean is equal to. The mean was equal to 80. So my total divided by 3 equals 80, and that means that doing the inverse, 80 times 3, means that my total should have been £240. Once I know this, I can take away the amounts of money which Akhtar has. So Akhtar had £65, so take this away. And also Ben had £100, so I can take this away as well. And that gives me £75. I can also see that Carl has 3 lots of £5, which is £15, so I can take that away. That's £60. And I can also see that he had 1 £20 note, so I can take this away, which is £40. And the rest of the money was made up by the £10 notes which he had. So I just need to divide by 10, and that will tell me how many of the notes he had, which is 4. Question 21. Malik is going to throw a fair coin 50 times. Write down an estimate for the number of times the coin would land on heads. So the probability of getting a heads on a fair coin is a half. And if you're doing it 50 times, I just need to work out what a half of 50 would be, which is 25. Part B. Paula and Simon are trying to find out if a different coin is biased. Paula throws this coin 10 times. She records the number of times the coin lands on heads. Simon throws the same coin 100 times. He records the number of times the coin lands on heads. Whose results will be more useful in deciding if the coin is biased? Give a reason for your answer. Well, we can see that Paula did the experiment 10 times, whereas Simon did it 100 times. Simon's will be more useful as he completed more trials, so therefore his results will be more accurate. Question 22. Here is a solid made from a square-based pyramid and a cube. Each edge of the solid has a length of 6 centimeters. On the centimeter grid, draw the plan of this solid. So the plan is the technical name for a bird's eye view. So we need to draw what this shape would look like from above. And I was told all of the edges were 6 centimeters. So the only thing that I'm going to see is this square, which is at the top, and it has lengths of 6 centimeters. So using a ruler, I just need to draw a square using sides or lengths of 6 centimeters. And you won't lose or gain any marks for drawing the edges which go across the diagonals of this shape, which would be these diagonals here, but you can draw them on if you like. Question 23a. Simplify n to the power of 3 times n to the power of 5. As long as you're multiplying numbers or letters which have the same base, in this case n, when multiplying you can just add the indices for a shortcut. So this would be n to the power of 8. Part B, simplify c to the power of 3, d to the power of 4, over c to the power of 2 times d. The best way to understand how this works is to write them out in full. So for the numerator, we'd have c times c times c times d times d times d times d. And for the denominator, we'd have c times d. We can cancel a c at the top with a c at the bottom, and again at the top with the bottom, and we can also cancel a d with a d at the bottom. So what that leaves us is c times d times d times d at the top, which would just be c d to the power of 3. Part C, solve 5x over 2 is greater than 7. You can solve inequalities in the same way that you would solve equations, but we just need to make sure that we use the symbol which was given to us at the start. So multiply both sides by 2. So 5x would be greater than 14, and then divide by 5. So x would be greater than 14 over 5. And if you wanted to, you could write this as a decimal, but you don't have to as long as you leave the fraction in its simplest form, which it is. But this could have been written as x is greater than 3.75 instead. Question 24. Andy cycles a distance of 30 kilometers at an average speed of 24 kilometers per hour. He then runs a distance of 12 kilometers at an average speed of 8 kilometers per hour. Work out the total time Andy takes. Give your answer in hours and minutes. Let's start by working out the total time for each part of the journey. So starting off with the cycle, using my relationship between speed, distance and time. Speed is equal to the distance over the time. So to work out the time, I need to do the distance which was travelled, 30 kilometers, divided by the speed, 24. And on your calculator, this gives you a value of 1.25 hours. Next, I can move on to when he was running. So using the same principles, speed would be equal to distance divided by time. And again, I'm working out the time here, which would be the distance, 12, divided by the speed, 8, which is 1.5 hours. So the total time would be adding these two together. So 1.25 hours plus 1.5 hours is a total of 2.75 hours. At the moment, this time is in hours, but I need my answer to be in hours and minutes. So you should know what 0.75 hours is in minutes, but if you don't, all you need to do is times the decimal part by 60, and that will tell you how many minutes it is, which is 3/4 of an hour, or 45 minutes. So my overall answer would be 2 hours and 45 minutes. Question 25. A number, m, is rounded to 1 decimal place. The result is 9.4. Write an error interval for m. So an error interval means that you need to find the upper bound and the lower bound for what this number could have been rounded from. And the easy way to do this with a decimal is to put a 5 on the end, and then for the lower bound you can put a 5 on the end, but you need to remember to take away 1 from the number before it, so 9.35. So my lower bound is 9.35 and my upper bound is 9.45. Question 26. Maisie knows that she needs 3 kilograms of grass seed to make a rectangular lawn of 5 meters by 9 meters. So in total, this lawn would have an area of 45 meters squared. Grass seed is sold in 2 kilogram boxes. Maisie wants to make a rectangular lawn of 10 meters by 14 meters. So this would be a total area of 10 times 14, which is 140 meters squared. And she has 5 boxes of grass seed. And I know that 5 boxes of grass seed came in 2 kilogram boxes. So 5 times 2 means that I have 10 kilograms. Has Maisie got enough grass seed to make a lawn 10 meters by 14 meters? You must show all of your working. So using the information that was given, I know that 3 kilograms covers 45 meters squared. If 3 kilograms covers 45 meters squared, I can work out what 1 kilogram would cover. And I can do that by dividing this by 3. So that would be 15 meters squared. I was told that I had 10 kilograms of grass seed, and I can see that 10 kilograms would be 10 lots of this amount. So times by 10, and that means I will be able to cover 150 meters squared. So yes, she has enough. She can cover 150 meters squared, and 150 meters squared is greater than the 140 meters squared that she needed for her lawn. Part B, Maisie opens the 5 boxes of grass seed. She finds out that 4 of the boxes contain 2 kilograms, but the other box only contains 1. So that would be 4 lots of 2 plus 1, which means I now only have 9 kilograms. And this is 1 kilogram less than what I thought I had. So remember, we know that 1 kilogram will cover 15 meters squared. So if I was able to cover 150 meters squared, but now I have 1 kilogram less, so take away 15 meters squared, that will now mean that I can only cover 135 meters squared. So yes, this will affect her answer. She won't have enough because 135 is less than the 140 which she needed. Question 27. Amanda has 2 fair 3-sided spinners. Complete the probability tree diagram. So the probability that it lands on a 2 on the first spinner, well, there's only 1 2 out of a possible 3 outcomes. So this would be 1 out of 3. So the probability it won't land on 2 would be 2 out of 3. Likewise, on the next spinner, the probability that it lands on a 2, well, there's 1 of them out of 3. So this would be 1 out of 3, which means that this would be 2 out of 3. And these probabilities would be replicated at the bottom. Part B, work out the probability that spinner A lands on 2, so this branch here, and then does not land on 2, this branch here. And to find the probability of landing on 2 and not landing on 2, you would need to multiply these probabilities together. So 1/3 times 2/3 would be equal to 2/9. Question 28. Use these graphs to solve the simultaneous equations, and both of those equations have been plotted for you already. So the solution to these would be where they intersect or where they cross. And this is an x value of -2 and a y value of 4. So the answer would be -2, 4. Part B, use this graph to find estimates for the solutions of this quadratic equation, x squared minus 4x plus 2. And the solutions when it's equal to 0 would be where it crosses the axes, the x-axis when y is 0. So where it crosses these points here. And there's normally a boundary given for these answers, but it looks like my solutions would be around x equals 0.6 and x equals 3.4. Question 29. The diagram shows a solid triangular prism. The prism is made from wood with a density of 0.8 grams per centimeters cubed. Work out the mass of the prism. So I've been given the density and I'm trying to work out the mass, which involves density, mass and volume. And to work out the mass, I'm going to need to know what the density is and multiply it by the volume. I have already been told what the density is, and I should be able to use the diagram that's been drawn to find the volume of this prism. To find the volume, I first need to find out what the area of the cross section is, or the shape that appears throughout the whole of the prism. So this would be this triangle. So base times the height divided by 2 is the area of a triangle, and that's 12 centimeters squared. To work out the volume, I then just need to multiply this area by the height or the depth, which would be 10. So the volume of this prism is 120 centimeters cubed. And lastly, to work out the mass, I just need to do the density, which is 0.8, multiplied by the volume, 120, and this gives me the mass, which would be 96 grams.
Thanks for watching. If you found that video useful, don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment. If you're struggling with maths or finding topics difficult, you can subscribe and turn on notifications to receive regular updates about new video tutorials. Don't forget to visit my website adamonlinetutoring.com for a full searchable list of all topics with exams, questions and solutions. You can also visit me on social media using the handle @AdamMathsTutor on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook and Twitter. All links in the description below.